How are you? What's happening in your world? Can you give us like a Spark Notes version of what's happening in life right now?
So I'll wake up at like 6:30 to get up for class at 7:40, and then I'm in class till 12, and then I get lunch, and then I'll go to practice till like 5 or 6 o'clock, depending on the day.
It's a long day.
It is.
Yeah. What's the biggest difference from that and back home?
Just say being alone, because like no one's forcing me to do homework, no one's forcing me to do anything, but like outside of academics type stuff. So I just had to do everything on my own.
Yeah, that's a huge difference. Daron.
Yeah, so I'm gonna definitely want to.
And I will resume. Yeah, that's so weird. I don't know where that went. Okay, that's all right. Technology, trying to figure it out.
Put the little see down here. You can just put the little logo right down there. And
You want me to put it there? Okay, I like that. I like that. All right. Shall we start? Daron, are you good?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
You go for it. You're the rock star leading us off.
Oh, rock star. I am not the rock star. We have a real rock star in our presence, though. I want to welcome Elijah Green to Amateur Hour. Elijah, before we get started, man, how are you? How is life? How is school? What's going on?
Everything is really good with me. Schools are pretty good. Baseball is really good. I'm excited for the spring.
You're a busy guy, and I know that there are a lot of people who probably would like to have a conversation with you, to learn about you. Just trying to do my homework for this and Googling you. And I'm sure that maybe you've Googled your name once or twice. There's a lot of things that come up. There are a lot of great stories out there and a lot of, impressive information on you right now. And I know we're going to get into your family and how important they are to you. And I had a chance, I think we talked earlier this summer, maybe it was at the Select Fest, but we talked about your dad. And something that you told me, not only does he inspire you, he pushes you, your dad, Eric, that he told you that you never know who's watching. Right. And I know now more than ever, eyes are on you in so many different ways, virtually, in real life. And it probably feels like every single thing you do is being counted and watched. So from your perspective, when no one is watching you, what are the things that you are doing? What are the little things that if I was a fly on the wall, a day in the life of Elijah Green, what are some of those little things when no one else is watching that you are doing to better yourself on the field and off the field?
So first off the field, I would say academics come first for me. So if you were a fly on the wall, you would see me studying for a test or just doing my homework for any class. And then on the field, you would see me being really consistent. Oh, with my swing I really practiced that over the course of the years, just trying to repeat my swing and just try to make consistent contact.
So let's talk about your swing and what goes into making it look so good and do so much work for you, because there are so many people who comment that you are playing above your level and that you make it look easy. And so how did you find your swing? Who do you model your swing after? And who do you watch in the game that you like? Or is it, I like Elijah Green and Elijah Green is the swing that I model my game after?
I really haven't based my swing off of anyone, but I really like to watch Aaron Judge when he's up to bat. But I would just say my swing is just based on myself.
And
when did you?
Sorry,
do you go for
You're okay. I just wanted to follow up. What goes into making that swing? Like, can you kind of break that down for me, though, when you are trying to be consistent and you are in the cage, getting your reps in? What does that look like? Kind of paint us a picture of what it looks like for you trying to just get down what that swing is.
Okay, first I start with the tee, and I have a little slight open stance, and I just pick any part of the back screen of the net to just try to put the ball at, so it can be a more consistent swing every time.
Green, when did you fall in love with this game, man? I mean, I know your dad liked it and played it and obviously was passionate about it, but for you, this is your choice, no one else's choice, and you have older siblings. When did you fall in love with it? And kind of take me to that experience, the memory you have when you thought, not only do I love it, I think I could do it maybe for my job. When did that happen? What did it look like?
I think I really fell in love with the game was when I was going to my freshman year. My 8th grade summer, I think that was the best summer I ever could have had, besides this summer, which was really great for me. But the stats say otherwise. And I feel like I was very consistent. And that year I got invited to Select Fest. So I just felt like that really made me push myself to be in more opportunities like that.
Even deeper than that, Elijah, were there certain games? Can you picture yourself at a ballpark, being a part of an event, a single piece of contact that you made and you thought, oh my gosh, I feel like I may be a little different, where confidence takes you into that zone where, your father understands what that's like. I did a little bit because they sent me home from rookie ball, but were there those singular moments where you clearly remember that, yeah, this is what has pulled me in? Specific moment.
I would say this year at Area Code, I had 2 home runs in the same game. I feel like that made me go on the top because that was the best of the best competition all over the country.
Danny asked you something interesting very casually about Googling yourself. I'm not sure that you do or you don't, but what's it like to have attention? Part of playing baseball a long time ago, like my father's in the Hall of Fame as a baseball player. And back in his day, he kind of had to create his own following, probably by the time he got to the big leagues. That's a long time ago. How does someone like yourself who is quiet, someone like yourself who is humble, how do you handle people wanting to do what we want to do, asking you questions? How do you handle attention?
I would, like you said, I'm very quiet, but I somewhat like attention, but sometimes it gets it gets a little bit too much. But I like to handle it, just let the other people talk about you and just keep what they say like to themselves. I don't like bringing attention on myself.
Right, but you can control that narrative a little bit, right? I mean,
Right.
The thing about it is, like, look, all this stuff that I'm reading about you, you can actually control that narrative. Like the people that are clueless can talk about you, certainly. And kind of all of us, me, you, your family who's joining in, listening to this conversation, they can have their opinions. But with the way you handle yourself and, choosing to do something like this, you can kind of help with that narrative a little bit. Yes or no?
Yes.
Take it further. What do you mean by that you can? And what do you hope people do think about you?
I just hope besides the game, I just hope they think I'm a very kind person and very humble person in real life, besides baseball. But in baseball, I really think I'm a very competitive guy, leader on the field, and I just like to compete.
Real quick, Danny, I have one more. Are you kind and humble?
I think I am, yes.
Good stuff.
So we've been lucky enough to see you in person and see how you are. And I would definitely attest to all of those qualities. And you've spent so much time at so many PG events, I'm sure building friendships with other top prospects and other guys who are the first, the number one in their state at their position, and different things like that. There are 2 guys I wanted to ask you about who I feel like I see you with a lot, Drew Jones and Tamar Johnson, and 2 guys who I feel like have probably made you better. So do your best and kind of just like give me as much as you can. What do those guys and maybe someone else that I didn't mention, how do they raise your game and what do they mean to you?
Those 2 guys are really close to me, honestly. And like we all first met at the Select Festival in 14U, and it was just really great because they're all great ball players. And I just loved how we always talk baseball and how we're always want the same things in life. And we always just pick each other's brains at like how to do this, how to do that. And we're just all great friends.
What have you seen, or how have you seen those 2 thrive and excel in their games from that Select Fest to now?
I'd say one from Drew is him committing to Vandy. I feel like that was one of his biggest accomplishments. And then Tamar, he just does it all. there's not a specific thing I can say about him that just amazes me.
And just a quick follow-up, Daron. I'm always so interested. I feel like your generation is growing up a little bit different because of social media and how often you guys use it and how you use it. You use it in a different way, I feel like, to your advantage most of the time. So in communicating with those guys and just kind of, seeing what you do online, my question here, let me like stop babbling for a second, is how often are you using social media to communicate with your friends? But do you have limits to your social media? How do you balance communicating and being social with your schoolwork and everything else that you have going on in your life?
I'd say I communicate on social media quite a lot, but I can very well manage my time with that and schoolwork. But outside of social media, I usually I can FaceTime Drew or Jamar all the time just to talk about baseball or talking about school or whatever. And we just talk as friends.
That's great.
I think what makes it fun is that you guys can be fans of one another. And that's what is different than like my father's generation when he played, certainly. And even your dad, when he played his sport of football. A lot of times you guys are very well aware of one another, right? I mean, you're talking about friendships, but you're also well aware of the top 21s and who was the top 20 and, how did that go down? I think it's pretty cool that this generation can be fans of one another. Am I summing that up right? Do you feel like you're kind of fans of one another? It's competitive, right? I mean, you're all kind of vying for that same spot, but would you feel like your fandom, I know you love Mike Trout and I know you're a Yankees fan, but do you feel like part of your fandom goes to your own guys?
Oh, for sure. All my friends I'm a fan of. I just want to see them do whatever they can do with whatever it's baseball or whatever if they don't make it with outside of baseball. So,
what's the last great piece of advice you garnered from your dad? Specifics. I mean, not just a big picture where you guys were talking and you walked away from that conversation, whether it be through the phone, or whether it be FaceTime, where you actually had it plant a seed in your brain and said, now that's some good stuff. I mean, dads, we're always supposed to keep giving the good advice, but the last really tangible piece of good advice you got from your dad.
We were talking the other day about, because he records all my at-bats, and this was in Jupiter, Fort Myers, and I hit a fly ball at the center with a man on third, and the guy got thrown out home. And we were just talking about how I could have done a better job with hitting the ball in a gap or getting a hit, which would brought in the run more easily. So he just told him, oh, the advice he gave me was always think to the next level. Don't think to the other guy's level, just think to the next level.
And the same question, and this may be totally different. This may be something completely away from baseball, but your mom, Leslie, what's the last piece of great advice your mom gave you?
I would say my mom she works with my school. So I would say she always just tells me to stay on top of my schoolwork and my studies and all that.
So simple, just keep studying. How about your sister Imani? She's closest to you in age. When you guys recently had a conversation, I know you guys talk a couple of times a week. What do you guys talk about? What have you learned from her? I'm guessing she's, the young adult experience, college and or the professional world. What's the last thing you guys discussed that was impactful to you?
Last time I talked to her was my birthday, and she was telling me to always be smart with your decisions and just be smart with whatever you're doing. Be smart who you hang out with, and just think before you do.
I'll take that advice too. I'll be writing that down. I like that. Just to kind of piggyback off what Daron was asking earlier, have you read something recently or watched something recently that inspired you or made you do a double take or made you want to share on social media? Like what things are you consuming that fire you up, that teach you something? Is it a podcast? Like, is there something like that?
I would say I really like LeBron. So I'd say LeBron really gives me a really big inspiration to how he carries himself as a leader and competitor on the court.
If you could ask LeBron anything, if you got to sit down with the guy, go to dinner with him, Yeah. And you know what, man, I honestly feel like one day you will be able to do that. What do you want to know about him, or what do you want to learn from him? What would you ask him?
I would say, how do you handle all the attention with everything he's got going on?
Hmm. Yeah, that's a great question. I love that. Darren, that's all I got, man. What do you got?
Yeah, I love that you're talking about LeBron with regard to leadership. What's a leader? I mean, if I landed from Mars and was learning the English language and trying to figure out how you guys communicate, and you told me the word leader, and I said to you, hey Elijah, what is a leader? And you gave me your best answer as it applies to you in your life. What is a leader?
I would say a leader is always saying what's on his mind respectfully, and he's just always leading his team. And you can tell if you're just walking by something and you'd be like, oh, that guy's a leader, and just how he just carries himself.
Is that hard to do? Is it hard to take care of your business? Hard to show out at a showcase? Hard to do all those things where you're kind of looking out for self, which you should. I mean, you're building your own career, and still be selfless and a leader. Is that a hard thing to do for a young person? I know it's hard for an old person, Elijah. It's hard for an older person. Yeah. Is it hard to do?
Say that one more time.
Is it hard to look out for self? You're building your own resume right now. And that resume, the single resume you're building, is for you, for your career. At the same time, you're trying to have the characteristic like LeBron James has of being a leader. Is it hard to do both, take care of you and your growth, and also the teams and your teammates? And how do you do that?
I wouldn't say it was hard, because I just want to see everyone else win around me. So I wouldn't say it's hard at all, but it can be hard having the difference between the two, because you want to build yourself instead of building other people, but you want to build the team as one. So you just want to be a great team player and just see everyone else win.
Before the pandemic and everything went down, high school seasons were starting, everything was rolling out. And here we are now heading into Christmas, right? Amongst all of that, what area of your game improved the most? What specific area improved the most? Because look, the negative person says nothing's going to improve in a year like this. I'm here to argue, and I said this earlier in this podcast, that all you guys, 21s and 22s, you busted your butts, and it's evident. I've been watching this age for years. So for you specifically, what one part of your game would you tell me, Sut, this one really bloomed?
I would say my consistency at the plate. And I wouldn't say the pandemic really helped me, honestly, because I just got time to work on myself and just be really consistent at the plate and get my arms stronger and just get faster.
And so is that about pitch recognition? Is that about decision-making during an at-bat? Are those things that maybe you wouldn't have been doing if you're playing games every single day, where there's some things you were able to do when you say get better at the plate? And I think you worked with Jose Salas too quite a bit. So are those things that because you got your mind a little stronger as a hitter as well?
Yes, for sure. And back to what you said, pitch recognition. We did a lot of drills for that. And I just thought just seeing the spin of the ball just made me put the barrel on the ball more consistently.
Seeing the center of the ball. Now, as an old minor league pitcher, explain to me what that means. Be specific.
I would say, if you look at the center of the ball, you can see, if it's a spin, which is a curveball, or just the seams is a fastball or a changeup, and I just react to whatever.
And so when I bump into you in 10 years and, we're having a Starbucks somewhere and I'm like, Green, it's good to see you. What will you be doing when I run into you?
Hopefully in MLB with whatever team in 10 years.
Okay. Maybe I may be the announcer for that team. And Dani may be in the dugout reporting. So we'll just have to see.
Hopefully.
Wait, I lied. I do have one more, and it is in conjunction with that, Elijah. I know I'm awful. I know. So I do want to know, because you're watching baseball change a lot. It was the weirdest it's ever been in our lifetimes, maybe ever that we'll see. And I think that what Darren said about your class and class of 2021, the most resilient. And I think you've gone through something that no other class hopefully will ever have to. But when you see baseball now and knowing that, you'll be there in just a few years, what do you hope that you can contribute, or what do you think that your major league career looks like? Does baseball look different than it does right now? Or have you envisioned, you know, the impact that you want to make as the game keeps evolving?
I would say I just want to keep more African American players in the game of baseball. So I would say that was how I would carry myself, just to give back to the community, all that.
And just
That's
to
a great
follow up
answer.
with that,
Yeah.
that's very thoughtful. You know, is there something specifically that you think we can do right now, or that communities can do, or that Major League Baseball can do right now to make sure that that does continue to happen? I know that Major League Baseball has the Breakthrough Series and the Dream Series and a lot of different initiatives, but is there something that you've thought, hey, what if we did this? Maybe this would help keep more African Americans in the game and continue to raise those numbers?
I would just say keep having all African American camps, so all the kids can stay into baseball instead of going to other bad things.
Yeah. Daron?
I'm good. I thought you asked that question super respectfully, and you took the microphone and gave the best answer in the world. So I was going to jump in. If you didn't give the direct answer, Elijah, I was going to jump in and say that's exactly what we need. I mean, it's exactly what we're seeing. I mean, we're seeing it. That's encouraging to me. 7%, 8% is going to be a thing of the past, and but it's going to take a little while, you know. But I'm guessing when you look around your clubhouse, to be more representative. We're seeing it anyway at the highest levels. Baseball's maybe fun again, maybe.
Don't tell anybody. That
Thank
was
you, man.
awesome, Elijah. Thank you.
Of course.
Mom and
I
Dad,
really
thank you.
appreciate it. Thank you, Leslie and Eric.
You guys can unmute now if you want.
Okay. Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. We appreciate you.
Of course. This will be out on Friday. So
Okay.
yeah, just really appreciate your time. I know it's crazy. So thank you again so much.
No problem.
Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Thank you for making the time. We really
Yeah.
appreciate
Oh, no
it.
problem.
We'll
Green,
see you
go do
next
your
year.
homework. All right.
Yes,
Merry
that's
Christmas.
what I
Merry
say.
Christmas, Green.
Thank you.
Get it
Merry
done.
Christmas.
God bless
Bye,
you.
I will. Bye.